Andy, is it true that you don't have audited accounts?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. When we came in 2024, we inherited the backlog of unaudited accounts for 6 years. So far, we have cleared 4 years because we know the importance.
So you cleared 4 years and be clear. For me too.
Remaining 2 years, and one of those years is already with the central bank, submitted to central bank for approval. So I can assure you that before the end of this year, we would have cleared all our unaudited accounts.
That's good. That's very good. But there's this accusation by some people that your FMBN is corrupt. That's true?
Okay, another interesting question I would say. Generally, I think that is the impression that people have about public institutions, government-owned institutions. However, we have a department that generally looks at issues around unwholesome practices.
Thank you. Allegations.
Corrupt practices, and so on and so forth, which is like an anti-corruption unit. And we are very, very serious about finding out if there are any members of staff that are involved in corrupt activities. In fact, I will tell you that last year we won an award by the ICPC, which confirms the extent to which the bank has been transparent. Additionally, because of these questions that keep coming, because I get a lot of people asking me about talking about this issue, we decided as a management to employ the services of what is called the mystery shoppers. We have deployed mystery shoppers all across the country, and they visit our branches, and any staff that is caught in indulging in corrupt activities will be severely dealt with. And I would like to challenge those who believe that there's corruption in this system to bring up those cases if they do have. We are very transparent and very serious in dealing with such cases.
Thank you so
Anybody who has any evidence should please open it.
Yes. Henry, let us now go to the area of policy. It has been argued, stated, even by our advocacy group, that the law that established Federal Mortgage Bank, NHF Act, with the Federal Mortgage Bank, have become obsolete. Do you agree with us that the law is becoming obsolete and may not be useful in actualizing some of your objectives? Therefore, what are you doing in the area of this policy with the National Assembly? Is there any collaboration you are having that could address this? And what can the stakeholders do for you, like our NGO?
Thank you very much. I must admit that the law establishing the Federal Mortgage Bank, in fact, certain provisions of those laws have really become obsolete, and they are not beneficial to the institution considering current realities. This bank has made several efforts to review both the NHF and the FMBN Act. In 2018 precisely, a tremendous effort was put to the extent that the two chambers of the National Assembly actually approved the amended bills for FMBN and NHF Act. Unfortunately, President then, during President Muhammadu Buhari, Mr. President, in his wisdom, declined assent to this bill for the reason that there were some individuals from the private sector who felt that certain provisions in the bill were inimical to their interest. So when we came in, what we did was to engage those stakeholders, identify exactly which provisions they were not comfortable with, and it will interest you to know that it was something to do with a levy that was to be imposed on building manufacturing companies, so that certain funds will be generated to provide affordable housing, which those companies consider to be some additional tax. However, after engagements, we have reached a common understanding that we do not necessarily need that particular provision. However, as you know, the FMBN Act provides that both commercial and merchant banks insurance companies are to contribute a certain percentage.
And that's what the law says.
Exactly.
That's what the law says.
Exactly. In the case of commercial banks,
Yes.
to provide 20% of the shareholders, I mean, their total loan portfolio, and the insurance companies 20% of their non-life funds. So we have had extensive engagements with these stakeholders to agree on what is possible. And through the intervention of the central bank, we have agreed that at least we can take 10% of their profits after tax.
Okay.
Which is just some kind of.
So how have you said about it? How about the implementation?
Yeah, this has not yet been implemented. I'm just saying that we have now reached a common understanding that is possible. So we have amended that section of the Act. Additionally, if you look at the capital base of this bank, that is one critical area we need to also amend. Because the capital base of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria in this age and time is still 2.5 billion. That is less than the capital base of even some of the primary mortgage banks that we are financing. We finance the activities of over 30 primary mortgage banks, to whom we give loans for on-lending to contributors to the national bank. So we believe that a provision such as that are really due for review. So what we have done is that we've done an extensive engagement with those stakeholders, including the labor centers. Now we have agreed on those areas to be amended. And we are now at the verge of resubmitting those bills to the National Assembly for consideration. We have also sent those bills, the amendments that we have made to our ministry, our supervisory ministry, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, for their input. After which we will then submit to the National Assembly. So we have a target that before the end of this quarter, specifically by next month, we should submit back to the National Assembly. And we have had extensive engagements with both the House of Representatives and the Senate. And we are all on the same page. Everybody sees the need for amendments. So that's where we are at.
Keep a date with Housing Development Program every week on AIT. Housing Development is the first and pioneer housing program in Nigeria and by extension, Africa. It remains the authentic voice of the Nigerian housing and construction industry. Housing Development is the only credible and specialized platform for seasoned professionals in the build industry, where quality and credible players in the real estate sector meet to interact, showcase, and analyze government policies. It is no doubt that hundreds of thousands of prospective Nigerians who desire to own their personal properties have done so through the assistance of Housing Development Program in the last 10 years. If you are a stakeholder in the build industry, here is where you must be. We are authentic, credible, and supported by all the leading professionals in the build industry. Housing Development on AIT.